All right, ladies, and we are live. Hello, hello, and welcome to Smart Women in Cannabis. I am your host, Kira Reed. Excuse me. It has been a while since I have done one of these, so I'm pretty excited about our guest today, Cannasite. Sorry, I'm getting a little out of it today. Okay, let me try that again. Hello and welcome to the Smart Women series. I'm your host, Kira Reed. Thank you for joining us today. Our guests are Reagan Hatch and Karen Cooper, co-founders of Cannasite Co. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, thanks for having us, Kara.
Cannasite Co. was created by two college classmates who bonded over a bong and a beer. We're a fun, friendly, no BS cannabis web design and digital marketing team ready to rock your project faster than you can inhale, exhale. I love it. Along the way, we've made some great friends who are too cool and talented not to keep around. Our tribe includes experts in marketing, design, business development, and of course, cannabis. We get high helping people create businesses they love and work with multiple startup cannabis brands, CBD retailers, and B2B solutions and more. All right. Well, I am super excited to talk with you ladies today about SEO, websites, and cannabis marketing. So with all of our guests, I want to start by hearing your cannabis story. So how did you two end up in a business in the cannabis industry? It started over a bong and a beer. Let's hear the rest of it.
Yeah, well, it started that way. Then it took a long pause, if you will. We both kind of went our own ways after college and developed our own career paths. And then for very similar reasons, we both found ourselves at a fork in the road, if you will, and we were unhappy. And I don't want to tell Karen's story, but I wasn't working for people that had a lot of integrity. And I just said, enough is enough. They were, for the most part, older white men, and so we said, we can do this our own way and build a company on our own values. And so that's what we did. And almost 2.5 years later, we're loving it and growing.
Karen, how did the two of you end up becoming web designers?
Well, I have a history in web design and worked for an agency in the automotive industry. Like Reagan said, similarly, old white men, and didn't want to work for them. Wanted to work with people that we liked, like she said. And so my background in web design, SEO, graphic design, and just entrepreneurship, just running small businesses, and Reagan's experience in sales and marketing and business development seemed to be a perfect fit. And we were glad to stumble upon each other over Marco Polo again. And I think we talked about it, and within like 24 hours, we said, let's do it.
Yep.
So was it a conscious decision to have a woman-owned business? Or was that just kind of the benefit of going to business with your friend?
No, definitely. I think we wanted to work with women primarily. And we have not hired any men. I don't believe, not that we're totally against them, but we wanted to have a business that showcased women's talent. I think especially in web design or tech industries, we tend to be dominated by men. And so we wanted to embrace that and work with primarily women and serve female clients.
So what do you find is kind of the biggest gap in knowledge when it comes to your women clients and their websites?
Probably just the tech stuff behind it and SEO probably. I think women tend to know what looks good. And so they can put a finger on that. They have design aesthetics, but often people don't know how to put it all together and don't know the tech behind it. And, where do I start? What platform do I use? Those sorts of questions.
Well, I can attest to the fact that you two have done an amazing job of simplifying the process.
Hmm.
I've worked with you now on build out on 3 websites, and it's generally a really complicated process. I don't know why, but it always gets so complicated. But working with the two of you has just been probably one of the easiest things that I've ever done when I've had to outsource something in my business. And I'm just curious how you develop that. What did you have to go through in order to get to a system that is just so turnkey?
Well, I think first and foremost, the design system, what happens behind the scenes that Karen designed, is simple in itself. You know, something we both realized, especially Karen working for a big agency, is that there's no reason that websites have to cost 20 grand and take 9 months to build and be so complicated. So our process is really simple and we work really quickly. And it always amazes people because they're just certain that we're outsourcing or cutting corners or something. But that's part of the reason for starting the company too, is let's just make it simple and do it our own way and around our own schedule. And again, values. And since we're both moms, it's just really worked out for us, especially during the pandemic.
Well, let's see some of your work. I'm anxious to share this with everyone.
Thanks, Kara. Karen's going to walk you through some sites.
I love that as moms, Reagan, the two of you have consciously started a business that will facilitate the need to be a mom. And especially like you said, in the pandemic, when you've probably got little ones at home all day, I'm sure it's been really comforting that the two of you are able to share duties in that way consciously as moms. So hats off. That's great. I love to see women building conscious businesses that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of us, between Karen, our geographical locations, one of our team members is pretty much always online. All right. So Karen, what site are you going to start with?
So I wanted to pop by our site real quick and show people that you can see lots of samples of our work on our own website, cannasiteco.com/projects. And there are lots to look at, and we're always adding new sites. And so we thought we'd start with High Sierra, which is a cannabis packaging company that's a big believer in sustainability and green packaging. And so some of these graphics are from their marketing that we were able to incorporate. And then add some fun features like icons to quickly tell a story, as well as some popovers here about their green manufacturing and their various products. So each product has its own page where you can learn more about it specifically.
So this looks like a pretty complex site. How long did this take you to build?
This is a custom website. So Reagan, do you want to talk about the differences between our templates and custom sites?
Sure. So this is a custom website primarily because it requires custom coding and to integrate some of the features like wholesale. And so our template, so you choose between custom and template. Our template websites, we are just that. You either choose one of our templates or we can build out the website to look like another website layout you like. And those take us 1 week for the turnaround. And then our custom websites, we ask for 30 days, but we almost always deliver in under that deadline.
That's so impressive for a site this complex.
And so this site has basically a product page for details about the specific product, but then it also is an e-commerce site where you go and place your order. And so they have a number of their products that are available for purchase right online. They have the shopping cart and people can check out. They also have some custom products that you can inquire about on their contact page, and they'll start that process with you. And so what you'll notice, so this is not the most feminine brand, if you will, but it's everything about it is clean. There is a lot of white space. We pride ourselves on very clean design, white space, having a nice contrast, having over here is our accessibility features for people who might have sight issues or and so you can make the fonts larger or grayscale it for contrast. So all of our sites aim to be very accessible and friendly. They're also all responsive, excuse me. So if I were on a tablet or on a mobile phone, as you can see, they move and reformat to fit whatever device you're on. Which Google now requires, well, I say requires loosely. They will serve mobile friendly sites above non. So they're not really requiring it, but you will not be as high in the search results compared to competitors that do have responsive or mobile friendly sites.
That's good to know. All these new things.
And this is Mile High Cure, which is a new site we just recently did, also custom. It's also a pretty deep site. They have hundreds of products, but they wanted to have a luxury brand site, but they also want it to be accessible to everyone. And so we added some graphic elements, and we have a lot of great photos that we work with them on, and they have their products. They also have, what's cool about this site is they have a white label, they have an affiliate program, they have wholesale. So they have a lot of features that are built into the site to make their own processes simpler. So they're automated.
Now, it's hard to mix luxury and accessibility, but I see where you've been able to do that. Well done.
Thanks.
And they also have a loyalty program. That's another feature that we help build, so people can earn points when they shop and then use those points, for savings. So it is a robust site with, like I mentioned, hundreds of products. But we did our best, I think, to keep it clean and user-friendly and have some nice graphic elements to elevate their brand.
Beautiful. Do you have a really feminine brand you can share?
Yes.
Well, we like to show the Women Empowering Cannabis site, which is a feminine brand, and we enjoyed building this. Now, I believe we did template.
Yes, you did.
And so what we like to highlight about our templates is that they don't look like templates. That we do a really solid job of customizing the template so that it looks like your brand and doesn't look like any other site.
This website is my favorite website I've ever had. I love it because I can add to it. And also another great thing about working with Cannasite is when you need something done, your turnaround is so fast. I mean, I can literally get things done that day as long as they're not too complicated. And that has really made approaching my website feel much easier because I know there's an open door to getting the problem solved. Whereas if it was complicated and I didn't get good answers and it took forever to get anywhere, I would be more resistant and hesitant to actually making changes that were necessary to my site. So that's a really important part of the customer relationship from the customer user end, that I can say Cannasite does better than anyone I have worked with in this realm. And I really appreciate it because it enables me to keep my website going. So, or improving it constantly. So thank you so much for having my back on that end.
Well, that's a great review. Thank you. But people don't always have a couple of weeks to address an issue with their website. So we have to be responsive and attentive to our customers. And so that's the way we
especially
roll.
now. Yeah, especially now too, with the pandemic and not doing as much face-to-face business, and a lot of brands weren't already being forced to go online to keep running. You can't wait days or weeks to get something done. You need something done now, especially if your site were to go down or to have an issue. You need to have a responsive team that is there to help. And so we definitely, like Reagan said, we pride ourselves on that, and also build on WordPress and on a theme that we love, that we feel is very easy and intuitive to learn. And we include training with all of our customers so that they are not reliant on us or someone else that they have to pay to make a change and do a lot of things on their own.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. All right. Do you have any others you wanted to show us before we get into some nitty gritty?
We could also show Journey Organics. It's a CBD brand. It is also a template. It has an e-commerce platform, and this one is even cleaner.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it is a very lovely brand and clean website, great little shop, shopping cart.
Is this a template as well, Karen?
Yes.
Wow.
And so there's the shop. It has a blog, which all of our sites have blogs built in. This has a news section where she's got press as well as the blog. And so all of our websites include blogs if you want one, or it's built and ready when you are ready to use it, a contact page, about page, and we don't limit pages. So however many you need is what you get. We don't bill by how many pages that you need. And I know that's a common way for a lot of people.
Yeah. We also don't limit. Sorry, Karen. We also don't limit revisions. We don't consider our job done until we've achieved your vision and you're happy as a customer. And so however many times we need to go back and forth till we get it right, we will.
That's incredibly generous, ladies.
Thank you. We just don't want to nickel and, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said, sometimes it's longer than others, but we always deliver the website either in a week or 30 days.
Nice.
Yes, if there's a slowdown in the process, it's typically the client gathering assets or whatnot, but we are always ready. And we should probably mention the third woman on our amazingly stellar team is Becca, who's our developer. And does a lot of the builds. She's very talented. She's very fast. And so she does a lot of the programming and the more complex stuff, the design stuff. As I mentioned, Reagan is business development and sales, and I'm kind of in the middle. And so I have the design background, but we're also, looking for ways to grow our business and to connect with other women and to create new products or processes to make things even better.
So let's drill down now that we've seen some beautiful websites. If you wouldn't mind stopping that, Sharon, coming back. One of the things that you wanted to talk about today was SEO. So I want to kind of get into the nitty gritty on that. And one of the biggest challenges that we have in cannabis is we can't market and we can't advertise, right? We're severely limited. But there are ways that we can kind of game the system to get more exposure. And SEO is right at the top of that list. So will you please explain to our audience, what is SEO? How does it work? I mean, it's generally a very complex subject. So can we, and the way you've done with your beautiful templates, can we condense it and make it simpler to understand? And then why do cannabis companies need an SEO strategy? Reagan, do you want to
Well,
start?
I'll start by saying SEO is search engine optimization, and it is building your site so that search engines can effectively process the information and deliver it in relevant search queries. So using your content effectively, as well as the technical aspects of SEO, which is having an efficient page load speed, having it be responsive, like I mentioned, having structured data, things like that to make it even easier for Google and Bing to find you and deliver you where it matters.
Yeah, and I would like to add that each of the websites we build, whether it's template or custom, includes the initial optimization for the price, because we believe that everybody should have a little head start and we don't want to charge people extra. Our ongoing campaigns really focus on content driven, just adding content. They're content driven is what I was trying to say. And so what we do is we write at the minimum, 2 blogs or create landing pages a month for each website. And what that does is it just kind of triggers Google to crawl your pages because it knows to anticipate new content. And so, with all of our different packages, you can be as hands-on or hands-free as you want in the process. You can write your own blogs. You can tell us what you want us to write blogs about, or we can do it completely based on our research.
Yeah. And so from my background in agency life, I decided early on that the problem with entrepreneurs starting a website is they build this beautiful website and we send them on their way, and then they're just waiting for someone to discover their website. And it's not going to happen unless you take certain steps to inform Google and Bing that you exist. And so I decided early on, I want to include that because it is a shortcoming to, build someone a beautiful website and then send them on their way and hope that they do well. And so we include that initial optimization with all of our websites so that they have sort of a running start, so that they're not just waiting, especially in this industry where we found people going all in, right? They're putting in their retirement funds. They're, starting CBD brands. They're starting cannabis brands. They don't have a ton of money by the time they get to marketing often. They may not, especially mom and pops, may not have marketing budgets. And so we don't want them to invest all this money and then not survive their first year. So part of that initial optimization is informing Google and Bing, hey, we exist. We submit your sitemaps to them. We do metadata, title tags, all those things that make your site presentable in the search engines and can be found. And then with our SEO service, we take that much further.
So let's say I'm sitting down to do my marketing 2021 plan. And I realized, I think that I could probably benefit in gaining more attention by having a better SEO strategy. If I were to come to you, what would you recommend? How should I be thinking about this?
Well, we have 3 packages. I don't know, Reagan, if you want to talk about how you would normally discuss that with a client. I mean, obviously budget is a factor. And we believe all of our packages are going to work for you. I often think how much is your budget? How much can you afford comfortably? If you're a national brand, I would say you're going to want to be in a higher package just because of what it takes to compete on the national level as opposed to the local level.
Okay, so let's push budget aside and talk about, okay, women empowered in cannabis. I want more members. I want to reach more members in new states that have just legalized cannabis. And I've got shadow bans on our Facebook group. So you can't come to Facebook to find me. So I'm very limited in how new people can find me. You've already done my website, right? So I know that the basics are there because that's part of your package. But I want to be able to kind of look at, well, what should I allot to that? But I don't know what my options are. So what would you say to me that I need to think about in terms of my options so I can figure out where my money should go? How much budget should I put there?
I would say to you that since you're talking about a Facebook group and that in itself is social, you're kind of covering the social aspect. So then it's a matter of how aggressive do you want to be? Do you want to start really aggressive and have lofty goals and go all in for the first 6 months? And then when you start to hit those milestones, step it back a little bit. Or if you're not quite as aggressive, a little more conservative, maybe start in the middle. And then when you start to reach some of those goals and website performance metrics, then you can ramp it up after you probably have a little bit more awareness in there.
So what would an aggressive strategy look like?
An aggressive strategy would be a nationally focused campaign that includes technical and structured SEO too, and it includes one blog a week and or landing pages and monthly strategy calls, a custom dashboard so you can look and see how your website is performing at any time you want. And even if you don't understand a lot of the technical aspects of it, it's really easy to read with beautiful charts and graphs for you so you can kind of figure it out on your own. But then we also send out monthly insight emails so that if you're more of a headline reader, then we can just point out and highlight the biggest achievements and growth areas of your campaign for that last month.
Wow. So what are some of the things besides blogs, that tools that you will utilize to get me more exposure?
Yeah, so with each of our packages, we are going to do keyword research, of course. That's at the heart of any campaign. And with regardless of package, we're going to come up with a lot of words, hundreds of words or phrases that we can use. And then we focus in on which ones we believe are going to generate the most traffic or quality traffic that is actually looking for you and not just, for example, CBD. If you're going to search for CBD, people who are searching CBD might be looking for the definition of CBD or what is CBD, what makes it different from cannabis. And so we have to look for long tail keywords or keywords that are much more specific than just CBD or cannabis, because those words are A, highly competitive, and B, often searches with them are informational, not with user intent or buyer intent. So keyword research is at the heart of it. And then with sites that we built, we've already done that initial optimization. If we didn't build your site, we're going to do that. And then based on that keyword research, we're going to hone in or refocus that initial optimization, go a little deeper. If you're an e-commerce site, we're going to do much more optimization on your products and your product categories than what would be included in that initial optimization. And we look at the technical stuff, making sure your site speed is good, that you have Google and Bing business listings, that depending on the package, we do competitor research on our higher two packages. And competitor research isn't necessarily who you think your competitor is, it's your competitor in the search engines. So while someone down the road might be your physical competitor, if you have a brick and mortar, for example, they might not be anywhere near you in the search engines. And so we want to look at who are you actually competing against there and who can you beat. And we start sort of small in a way because, for example, if you were a CBD company, you're not going to rank number one for buy CBD. There are so many people out there who have been doing it for so long. And so their domain rating, for example, might be a 90 and a new company might be a 10. And so there's no way a 10 is going to beat a 90. So we look at who is in that 10 to 20 range that you can start beating. And then as you increase your domain rating, as you increase your authority, will then compete against the next level of people. So that's why national campaigns or national brands are more in depth and have a lot more work to do because the playing field is a lot wider. And then other things we do are like local citations or backlinks, structured data that I mentioned, NAP consistency, which is your name, address, phone number, making sure it's the same across all platforms, whether it's, Facebook, local directories, your website, your business listings, etc. And then just monthly strategy calls to determine how we can integrate with your other marketing efforts. So if you're going to do a Black Friday sale, we want to know about that. We can, talk about that in our blogs. We can help you with a landing page for a special sale that you might be doing. Lots of different ways we can kind of coordinate with your other efforts so that you're maximizing them.
Or geographically target landing pages too. If you notice that you have an area in the US where you don't have any members, we can create a landing page for that. Or if there's, you want an e-commerce shop and you want to be selling more in a certain area code or town, then we could create a landing page specific to that town or zip code.
It's interesting to hear how much more SEO is than just getting placed on Google, because I think a lot of people, when they hear search engine optimization, they immediately think it's about getting me ranked on Google. But it's such a complex industry that we really do need to understand all of those ideas and options that we have to get our name out, that we can do organically. Blogging, just listening to what you're saying, well, if I'm doing a blog every week, then I'm earning more credibility with Google, right? So it'll be one of those things that helps to move me up faster, right? So there are things that I can do, but if I really want to knock it out of the park, I need someone like the two of you to come in and really use all of those levers that are at my disposal correctly.
Yeah, well, and to that, Google is never going to tell us the secret recipe or the secret sauce to getting ranked number one. I mean, we know lots of things affect it. We don't know, what affects it more necessarily, just by what we've learned. And of course, SEO insiders and, blogs to learn about what they think Google might be weighting more or less. But Google's constantly changing its algorithm. So you might be ranking really great one day and all of a sudden your rankings drop. And that's because Google's changed their algorithm. And
they don't notify you when they do, right? You just have to figure it out.
No, they'll notify major updates. We'll hear about those. But I mean, last month we noticed all of the Bing numbers dropped, and Bing changed something. They have changed it back and Bing numbers are back up this month. So that's another thing too. It's a long game.
People still use Bing?
Yeah. Surprisingly, there's this, last time I heard it was like 30%, but I have to believe it's probably less than that. I haven't looked in a long time, but yeah, it's the only one. Yahoo's no longer relevant at all. So it's just Google and Bing now. And yes, Google certainly is the bigger player. And Bing tends to replicate, I think, or follow in Google's footsteps with algorithm changes and whatnot. But other things that affect your ranking are reputation, your reviews.
Yes, and that was my next question to you. which is you wanted to also talk about this, and what your specialty specifically with time management is social and with management, not time management, is your social management and your reputation management. And reputation management it's a really interesting, it's something that when you're a smaller business, you don't really think you have to do. You think you can just kind of fly below the radar. Nobody really knows. If something happened, it wouldn't be a big deal anyway. But that's not necessarily always the case. I had a company called Hey Honey, and we were a little lemonade company here that ended up in a Facebook promo video. And we didn't know how to capture it. So it wasn't even just negative things, but it's also the good things. Your reputation management is also about getting out those good things. So please talk about, what is reputation management? Is it different than social media management? If so, how? And what do we need to know going into 2021 to do a better job?
Well,
take it, or would you like me?
What, Karen?
Go ahead.
Oh, one of the things we do is work with your new customers and ask them, we make it really easy for them to fill out a review, but we also help mitigate bad reviews if you get one, and try to get our customers the opportunity to resolve whatever might have caused that bad review to improve it. And so we make it really easy for customers to leave good reviews and then upload them to the website or whatever proper channels they want. And I don't know, Karen, it's different than social media, definitely different than social media.
Yeah, well, reviews do affect your search results now, specifically Google reviews. And social media does too, interestingly, though, a smaller part. I think, if you remember, you used to be able to search a business name and no social media would come up. But now if you search a business name, your Facebook page, your Facebook profile will appear in their search results. That's a relatively new development for Google. So while I don't know that any of us know how much having social media platforms or profiles affect your rankings, it certainly is another opportunity to gain organic traffic by having social platforms. And likewise with reviews, Google My Business and Bing Places have built-in reviews, and I know Google weights their own. I don't know how much, but collecting reviews, and I think too, responding to reviews plays a role. And Google has a nice platform that allows you to respond directly to the customer, and they're not permanent. So if you are doing a good job of serving your clients, if you get a review that's less than stellar, you have an opportunity to rectify the situation and hope that they will increase their rating, increase that review, or change that review after you've helped address whatever the concern was. And so they are sort of living organisms, if you will, online. They don't have to always be negative. You can hopefully talk to that consumer and have them change it. And so what we do with reputation is help the client manage those. Again, we can do the process 100% on our own. We can work with the client to determine how they want to respond to specific reviews, or just be more of a notification service. Hey, you have this new review, here it is. How do you want to respond? Would you like us to respond? That sort of thing. So we can be as involved as the client wants us to be. And then we also help them get more reviews, because we know that those do help in the search results. So we have a process that the client can say, here are the 20 new customers I had this month, and we'll then take those and do a review campaign to hopefully get them to leave a positive review. And so again, that can be through email marketing, if we're going to reach out to them via email. It can be the simple review emails that we send to people, or it can be a bigger, more graphic with more of an email marketing approach. And then we also have links that people can put in their email signatures. They can put them on their business cards. They can put them anywhere where they're having communication with the client to, again, encourage leaving that feedback and making it as simple as possible, because that's what, consumers don't want to spend a lot of time to leave a review. If it's made simple, it encourages, more turnover.
So there really is a way to grab the reins on reviews and negative comments out in the world of the internets with your help.
Yes, definitely. And it's, we know it affects your review or your rankings. So it's a relatively cheap and, in a lot of ways, for the client, free way to improve your ranking, just by asking your customers. If you have a brick and mortar, talk to them when they're at the checkout. Hey, leave us a review. Drop a little card in their bag that shows them, that has the link where they can go and easily leave a review. We also have text abilities where you can send, if you're collecting phone numbers, you can send them a text. Hey, leave me a review. Now they're right on their mobile phone, 2 clicks away from leaving you a review. It's so simple. So it's a cost-effective form of marketing, just like email marketing. That isn't a tremendous cost, but it's another way to reach out to people. And again, as you mentioned, we are limited with cannabis and how we can market. We can't really do much paid advertising like a lot of people do. Facebook ads. You're definitely more limited in what you can get away with. Instagram ads, those sorts of things. So we try to find a lot of other ways that you can connect with your customer to continue to build brand awareness and loyalty.
What is your closing bit of advice for women who are building up their strategy for next year? Where does their website and SEO fit in? What should they be thinking about when they sit down and get ready to plan those budgets?
Well, I would say that at least during the pandemic, your website is it's your business headquarters. It's your online headquarters. And any marketing that you're going to do should lead back to your website, especially if you're e-commerce. I mean, everything you're doing should be driving back to your website to convert a sale. And so finding what works best for you and your brand, and what is affordable in your budget, so that you can bring as much traffic back to your website as possible.
Yeah. Think of your website as an employee, the only employee that's going to be working 24/7, because you can't, and none of your other real employees are going to be working for you 24/7. So make sure it's up and running and really captures your brand, your values, your tone of voice, so that people really understand who you are and what they're buying from you. But also, since we are in a pandemic and it's a little scary knowing what's around the corner, consider the platform that you have your website on. We're big fans of WordPress. We're WordPress pros, but it's a free platform. There is no cost associated with your website other than to host it. And there's extremely affordable options out there for hosting. And that way you own your website. If you go and, it's really easy to build your own website these days on other platforms like Squarespace and Wix and Shopify. However, just realize that you're not going to own your website. So any of that work you put into it, it won't be yours if you want to move it down the road.
And if women want to reach out, talk to you about services, where can they find you?
Well, they can reach me anytime. I love emails and I'll respond, and then you'll get my phone number in the signature, but it's Reagan at cannasiteco.com. And that's REAGAN at CANNASITECO.com.
And you can find us anywhere online at cannasiteco.com or Cannasite Co. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of them are at Cannasite Co.
Well, thank you, Reagan and Karen, so much for your time today and for sharing your wisdom. I certainly learned some new things today, and I hope you ladies did as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not yet leveled up and become a supporting member of Women Empowered in Cannabis, go to our website, womenempoweredinCannabis.com, and check out the great work from Reagan and Karen. And go to the join page to get more details on how to contribute. And if you haven't already joined our other Facebook groups, Supply Chain, CBD, and Hemp, and the most recently added Women of Color group, I encourage you to sign up for any that appeal to you. WEIC is a community that provides resources, connections, events, and content to women working in cannabis in the US, Canada, and around the world. And if you're getting bored during COVID and you want to connect with other women in a virtual social environment, then check out House of Jane, a collaboration between Women Empowered in Cannabis and Tokeativity. We host a salon-style event the second Wednesday of each month. And in December, we are hosting the House of Jane holiday party. We are going to have some really fun activities. We're going to have live recipes. We're going to have a Christmas Carol dance party. And we're going to have a background contest with some really good prizes. So it's going to be my only holiday party of the year, and I plan to have a lot of fun. So I hope that you ladies will join me, because I don't think there are going to be a lot of holiday parties this year. So come and have some fun with us. RSVP at House of Jane. And join us soon for another Smart Women series. Until then, have a lovely and productive week, ladies. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, Kara.
Thank you.
You're so welcome, ladies. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.